The chipped ceramic tile beneath Maya's bare feet was cold, a stark contrast to the simmering anger in her chest. The acceptance letter, creased and worn from countless readings, mocked her from the kitchen counter. Harvard University, her dream, but a dream deferred, felt like a nightmare in progress. It had been 3 weeks since the notification, 3 weeks since her mother's quiet tears of joy. 3 weeks since the celebratory barbecue, where her entire community, crammed into their small backyard, had showered her with affirmations and advice. 3 weeks since the loan application denied. She remembered the loan officer's polite, practiced smile, the way his eyes glazed over when he looked at her mother, a single parent who cleaned houses for a living. He had cited insufficient collateral and high risk investment, words that tasted like ash in Maya's mouth. They didn't see her straight A average, the scholarships she had already secured, the fire in her belly to make something more of her life. They just saw her zip code. Now, the reality of that polished rejection sat heavy on her shoulders. The community's well wishes felt like empty promises. The image of her late father, beaming with pride from a faded photograph on the fridge, seemed to question her ability. She walked into the living room, the worn floral pattern of the sofa familiar and comforting. Her mother, Sarah, was asleep in her usual spot, her hands calloused and aged for her years, resting on her chest. Maya knew her mother had already sacrificed everything for her. She had worked tirelessly, taking on extra jobs and depriving herself of the smallest luxuries, all to ensure Maya had opportunities she never did. The thought of adding to that burden was unbearable. Maya had always been a reader, finding solace and strength in the stories of others who had overcome obstacles. She devoured biographies of Black leaders, artists, and scientists, their resilience a beacon in her own struggle. But now, those stories felt distant, almost unattainable. She picked up a worn copy of Their Eyes Were Watching God from the coffee table, a book her grandmother had cherished. The words, though familiar, resonated with a new depth. Janie Crawford's journey of self-discovery, her refusal to be defined by others, sparked a flicker of hope within Maya. That night, instead of despair, Maya felt resolve. She wouldn't let this define her. She wouldn't let their prejudice steal her future. She wouldn't let her mother's sacrifices be in vain. The next morning, she woke before dawn. She found Sarah already awake, making coffee. The smell of it filled the small kitchen, a familiar comfort. Ma, Maya began, her voice wavering slightly. I'm not giving up. Sarah looked at her, her eyes filled with a mixture of worry and fierce pride. She knew Maya's strength, her unwavering determination. I know you won't, baby, she said, reaching out to take Maya's hand. Her touch was rough but warm. You're your father's daughter. Maya started researching alternative funding options. She scoured the internet for grants and scholarships, spending hours poring over eligibility requirements and application deadlines. She visited local businesses, presenting her case with passion and eloquence. She even started a crowdfunding campaign, sharing her story with the world, her voice trembling but resolute in the video she recorded. She took on a part-time job at the local library, shelving books and helping patrons. The work was tedious, but it provided her with a small income and access to a wealth of knowledge. She immersed herself in books, learning about business, finance, and entrepreneurship. And slowly, things began to shift. A local community organization offered her a small grant. A few individuals donated to her crowdfunding campaign, moved by her story and her unwavering spirit. Her old high school teachers rallied behind her, writing letters of recommendation and connecting her with potential mentors. She started tutoring younger students in the neighborhood, sharing her love of learning and inspiring them to pursue their own dreams. She became a role model, a symbol of hope in a community often overlooked and undervalued. The days turned into weeks and the weeks into months. The initial rejection still stung, but it no longer defined her. She had found her own path, a path forged in resilience and paved with determination. Finally, the day arrived when she had enough money to cover her tuition for the first semester. It wasn't the full amount, but it was enough to get her started. Standing on the steps of Harvard University that first day, Maya felt a wave of emotion wash over her. It was a feeling of triumph, of gratitude, of profound belonging. She wasn't just fulfilling her dream, she was honoring the sacrifices of her mother, the memory of her father, and the unwavering support of her community. She knew the road ahead would be challenging. There would be setbacks and obstacles. But she was ready. She had found her voice, her purpose, her strength. She was no longer just Maya from the other side of town. She was Maya, a Howard student, a scholar, a daughter, a symbol of hope, and a testament to the power of resilience.